So Sam has been completely delivered from that secret sin through the power of the Spirit. That's why he was so joyful. So even though he hasn't been healed from coming out of his wheelchair, he had a far better healing, which is to never sin again. And he actually looked at me and trembled and said, I will not sin again. That's a victory.
So the Messiah of Israel said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Jesus said, unless you have a pure heart, you will not see God. So my question for UCLA is, how many of you have pure hearts? Are you lying? Are you cheating? Are you stealing? Are you having sex outside of marriage? Are you looking at pornography? Are you masturbating? Are you bearing false witness? Are you having sex outside of marriage? If you're doing these things, you don't have a pure heart. And Jesus said in Matthew 5, only the pure in heart will see him. So what's the solution? How can you have a pure heart? I'll tell you, the blood of Messiah will cleanse you of your past sins, and then his Holy Spirit will help you overcome and never sin again. This is the good news of the gospel of Yahshua Mashiach, where he said in Hebrews 8, he said, I will write my Torah, my commandments, my instructions on your heart and on your mind. He will give you an inward desire to want to obey the very book that you once thought you could never obey. I used to have an impure heart, very black and sinful heart. But Yahshua of Nazareth, he set me free from my sin. And he can set you free. Any human being on the planet can be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel by the blood of the Jewish Messiah, Jesus the Christ. You can rule as a king and priest with the Messiah of Israel for all eternity if you would but humble yourself. Did not Jesus say in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 20, think not that I come to destroy the Torah and the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to revive. And as long as you see the sky above you and the earth beneath you, not one jot, not one tittle in the Torah will pass away until everything is accomplished. What the Pharisees and Sadducees missed is they would do little things in the Torah like wear the tzitzit, but they rejected faith, judgment, love, and mercy, which were the main topics of Torah. So they only picked and chose which parts they wanted to keep. And Jesus said in Matthew 23:23, I would that you would do these small things and also do the big things of love, mercy, and judgment. And by his Spirit and through his blood, we can obey this Torah. Every commandment in Torah brings blessing. There was an atheist who wrote a book called The Body of Lexa that showed if you wear clothing of unmixed fiber, a tiny little law in Torah, it actually improves your immunity system. When you follow the Leviticus 11 diet, you avoid heart attacks and heart disease. When you keep the Sabbath day from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, you're able to accomplish twice as much the 6 days of Sunday through Friday. Every commandment brings a blessing if you obey it out of a love for Jesus. This is the new covenant. This is the true gospel. And wherever the true gospel is preached, Jesus said this story would be told. A woman with an alabaster jar of oil worth thousands of dollars poured this oil on the feet of Jesus and used her hair to wipe that oil into her feet, and her tears mingled with the oil because she absolutely adored Yahshua. This is the heart of the true gospel. That you fall so in love with with the Messiah that you would rather die than sin. You fall so in love with this Jewish Messiah, you would rather die than sin. What is the true heart of someone who loves God? It's described well in Psalm 119. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the Torah of Yahweh. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all your commandments. I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned your righteous judgments. I will keep your statutes. Oh, forsake me not utterly. How shall a young man cleanse his ways? By taking heed thereto, according to your word. With my whole heart have I sought you. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments. Your word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Yahweh. Teach me your statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of your mouth. And I rejoice in the way of your testimonies as much as in all riches. I will meditate in your precepts and have respect unto your ways. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Over and over again, what does he say in this psalm? He says, I love your commandments. I delight to do your will. I love your statutes. I love your testimonies. This is the true gospel. This is what Jesus actually does. Not this phony, baloney, lukewarm Americana churchianity where you say you love Jesus and you just live like an atheist. No! The true living Messiah sets you free from all sin. And not only that, with the love in your heart, you want to obey this book. Deal bountifully with your services, that I may live and keep your word. Open now mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of your Torah. Your law, your Torah is worth more to me than gold and silver. Your law is sweeter to me than honey. But you have rebuked the proud that are cursed to err from your commandments. He reveals these things to the humble, to the broken and contrite in spirit, but he resists the proud. He reveals these things to the broken in spirit, to the humble, to the contrite, but he resists the proud. He resists the mockers. He resists those who laugh at him and who mock him, but he draws close to those who humble themselves. Teach me, O Yahweh, the way of your statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I will keep your Torah. I will absorb your instructions with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of your commandments, for therein do I delight. Enlarge my heart, that I might keep your commandments. That's what the Messiah does. When you humble yourself and get washed in his blood, filled with the Spirit, he enlarges your heart. He transforms your heart so that you can actually obey what you once thought impossible. What's my testimony? I was raised in a church, but I wasn't really doing this book. I was just a Christian in name only. I hated this book because it told me what a wicked person I was, and I didn't want to obey it, frankly. But when I had a true encounter with Yahshua, with Jesus the Messiah. When I repented of my sin and he filled me with the Spirit, the very laws I once thought I could not obey, now I hunger to obey. I wanted to love God with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength. I wanted to love my neighbors myself. I wanted to wear the tzitzit. I wanted to keep Shabbat. I wanted to eat clean food. I wanted to give the first fruits of my money to the widow, the orphan, and the poor. I wanted to do these things because Jesus now lives inside me. Yahshua of Nazareth. This is the true gospel. The everlasting gospel. The way it's always been. That you cleave to Yahweh and you hearken to his voice. This is what Abraham did. This is what Moses did. This is what Joshua and David did. Our Messiah cleaved to his Father and hearkened to his voice. The apostles in the New Testament, they cleaved to the Messiah and hearkened to his voice. This is the everlasting gospel. There are over 200 nationalities represented at UCLA. I'm here to tell you that every human being on the planet has the opportunity to be grafted into the Commonwealth of Israel by the blood of the Messiah Yahshua. And once you're grafted into Israel, all these beautiful commandments and instructions that were given to Israel are now yours. Whomsoever will. My website is spiritandtorah.com. Spiritandtorah.com. But when you go to my website, make sure you compare it to this book. You don't trust any man. You hold it up to the Word of God, because this was written by the hand of Yah. How do I know? If you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, 2,300 years ago, compare the scroll of Isaiah from 2,300 years ago to a modern-day Bible of Isaiah, and the differences between the two are nil. So this mythology that has been mistranslated or misquoted is wrong. Now, how do I know it's true? The prophetic accuracy of this Bible is unlike any other religious text known to man. The prophet Daniel, in the year 500, predicted that there would be exactly 483 years from the issuing of rebuilding Jerusalem to the time Messiah would be cut off. His writing is dated to about 500 BCE. Then if you use secular history, you can find out that from the date that Artaxerxes of the Medo-Persian Empire issued a proclamation to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem to the very date Messiah was crucified was exactly 483 years to the very day. No other prophet has done that. Nostradamus is vague. Jeremiah wrote in 761 BCE that Israel would be in Babylon for exactly 70 years. Then you use Herodotus, a secular historian who did not believe in the book, and you can find out Israel was exactly in Babylon for 70 years to the day. Prophetic accuracy like none other. I don't even need this book to prove that Jesus rose from the dead. You can go to the Toduth Jehu, a compilation of early Jewish writings dated to the early 2nd century. These were hostile witnesses that did not believe in the resurrection, and they spent all their writings trying to explain why the tomb was empty. Why would hostile witnesses admit to an empty tomb? They could have said it was a hoax, it was a fairy tale, but no, they were trying to explain why Jesus' tomb was empty. Now the Romans and Jews, they had no motive to steal the body, because all they had to do was produce the body, and it would kill the resurrection story in its tracks. And the disciples, they had no motive, because if they had actually taken that body and burned it, and then they went out and preached the resurrection story that got them crucified, knowing that they had burned the body, no man in history, knowing something is 100% body and destroyed it. And then we're going to die for it. It doesn't happen. So the only explanation for the empty tomb that is even admitted by hostile witnesses is that the Messiah rose from the dead, and he fulfilled the Jewish Feast of First Fruits, which the Jews have been celebrating for thousands of years. He did rise from the dead. He is alive. This is why you don't see a Hindu or a Buddhist or even a Muslim doing what I'm doing. Even many lukewarm Christians won't do this. There are some who come out and preach out of contention, wrong motive. I'll grant you that. But only Jesus Christ of Nazareth, only Yahshua, can give you such a strong peace that you can be thrown into the Holocaust itself, and the peace would not be taken from you. This is why there were some Messianic Jews who were led to the ovens in 1940 Germany, and they were literally singing praises to God. How could they do that? How could they do that, knowing they were about to get burned and incinerated by the Nazi regime? How could they start lifting up praises to God? I'll tell you how. Because the peace that the Messiah of Israel gives transcends all understanding. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, he's always with me. I'm not saying your life gets rosy. It doesn't. I mean, Paul himself was beaten, shipwrecked, persecuted even by so-called believers, but he always had that peace and that fire with him. So yeah, you do get persecuted. The world does hate you, but the peace that God gives you is like anything you've ever experienced. It's priceless, and yet it's free for anyone to take. Anyone to take. Hallelujah. You guys don't see, but there's like, wow, there's just a student group. And there's other students around. But it's rain and it's beautiful. Messiah of Israel said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." That means you have a broken and a contrite heart, and you love Messiah. He said, "Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted." In other words, you're mourning over all this sin that's going on. When babies are murdered, when pornography is being exported, when people are hurting each other, hating each other, you're mourning. Blessed are you that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. You're fully submitted to God. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. This is what the new covenant's all about. It'll write these instructions on our hearts and our minds, and we'll have an inward desire to want to obey this book, because his shed blood has set me free from my past, and his spirit now helps me to live in the present and to overcome sin. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. And blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. It has been so sad that I've talked to so many Christians on this campus that they confess to me they don't have a pure heart. Yet Jesus said, unless you have a pure heart, you're not going to see him. You can't claim to love Jesus and be walking in sin. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But when he covers you in his blood, fills you with his spirit, when he creates himself within you a new heart, and he sits on the throne of your heart, then you don't want to sin. And it's him living in you that allows you to have that pure heart, because now you're wanting to obey this book. Now you're wanting to trust in him and love him, because he that began a good work in you is faithful to complete it. blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. How do you find true peace? The Bible says there is no peace, there is no shalom for the wicked. When you're a sinner, even though you may not be aware of it, but when you sin, you're placing yourself at war with God, at war with His commandments. This is why your conscience screams at you and says, you shouldn't do that. The only way for true peace is to lay down your warfare with God and to fall in love with Him, which can only be done through the Messiah covering you in His blood, filling you with His Spirit. You have to forsake your sin, and then you can find true peace. You can make peace with God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So even when you do get persecuted for making a righteous stand out of a love for Jesus, the more they persecute you, the more rewards you get in eternity. So even that is turned around for your good. Think not that I come to destroy the Torah, the law, or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to revive. I say unto you, until the heavens and the earth pass away, not one jot, not one tittle of the Torah will pass away until everything be accomplished. For I say unto you that except, I skipped a verse, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. And what did the scribes and Pharisees do? The scribes and Pharisees would do the little things in Torah, but they would reject mercy, judgment, and love, the main pillars, faith in Torah. And Jesus said, you ought not to leave the small things undone, and you ought to also do the big things. You don't pick and choose which parts of the Bible you want to obey. So when Jesus came to this earth 2,000 years ago, He did fulfill the spring Jewish feasts of Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, and Shavuot. But He has not yet fulfilled the fall feast of trumpets, of Yom Kippur, and of the feast of Sukkot. But He is. Just as surely as He walked this earth 2,000 years ago and fulfilled Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, and Shavuot, He will return to this earth to fulfill the feast of trumpets, Yom Kippur, and the feast of Sukkot. It's going to happen. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of a living God. There are many who are just continuing in sin and not carefully considering this book. And the Messiah prophesied about this when He said that the road to life is narrow and few there be that find it. But the road to destruction is broad and many there be that find it. The Messiah said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There is no other way to the Father except through me. No other way. Every human being on the planet can choose this narrow path of being grafted into Israel by the blood of Messiah. But if you choose not to, then you will go to the lake of fire for all eternity. The lake of fire was not designed for you. It was designed for Satan and his fallen angels. The lake of fire was designed to torment the devils forever for their wickedness. But if you as a human wish to live like a devil, that is where you will go. For the Messiah did preach on a place of weeping and preach on a place of outer darkness, yet that burned. He did preach about stars, wandering stars that wander forever, filled with regret and loathsome, but also tormented. Tormented. Are you going to wear the wedding garments and prepare yourself for when this Messiah returns to earth? Or are you going to spend eternity in destruction, the lake of fire? Wake up! Grab a hold of the Messiah of Israel. For blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the Torah of Yahweh. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with a whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They will not sin because they walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all your commandments. I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned your righteous judgments. I will keep your statutes. Oh, forsake me not utterly. How shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto, according to your word. With my whole heart have I sought you. Oh, let me not wander from your commandments. Your word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Yahweh, and teach me your statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of your mouth. I rejoiced in the way